Pete Rose won his third National League batting title this year. He led the major leagues in base hits with 230.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Sports Revisited podcast.
And up now is Pete Rose. He fouled out his first time up. We're at the top of the Red batting order. Probably the Reds have the two best table setters in the business in Rose and Morgan to get on base and set things up for your big boys in the middle of the lineup. Mets are ahead 1-0. Curve is hit in the air to left field.
A little classic sports talk. Today's topic is going to be Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Where do you stand? What do you think of it? Well, my thoughts are he makes it difficult to put him in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he made it easy for Major League Baseball to forgive him. He made it as hard as possible for Major League Baseball to forgive him. All this crime that he's done all these years, all of it is needless, because he just had to step up and do the right thing. And that was that. And it would have been over. You come clean, you apologize sincerely for what you did, and you demonstrate that you understand what you did. You understand the position you put other people in now. The things that you have to force them to do now. You show that you understand the scope of it all. And you express appropriate remorse. And then they would have forgave him. And then they would have reinstated him. And everything would have been all right. But instead, he had to be like this ultra denier. This guy that just, he won't admit that the sun is shining. I don't know why. I don't know what to say about his thought process. It's almost like as if he was just too scared to admit it. To admit that Pete Rose did such a thing. It was almost like he could win the battle of public relations or something. I don't know what he thought he was going to accomplish by not being completely forthcoming with Major League Baseball. I don't know what he thought he would have accomplished. Let's see here, looking at Wikipedia. Reinstatement efforts. Manfred says he also felt that Rose didn't have a, quote, mature understanding of his wrongful conduct and the damage it done to the game. You got to understand what that means. What that means is, Pete, are you not grown up enough to understand that as long as you take this posture of minimizing your damage, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, it was only this, it was only that, you don't apologize for what you put us through, you don't understand the extent of what you did. How do you want us to stand next to you, hand you some laurels and say thank you very much for everything that you've done for us? How do you expect us to do that? I mean, how could... That's what he means by having a mature understanding of what you did. What position did you put people in? How are you going to help them? How are you going to help them get out of that position? What position did Pete Rose put Major League Baseball in by the disposition he took concerning the behavior that he engaged in? I mean, you can't just say, hey, the guy got a lot of hits, put him in there. The guy's been an asshole to a lot of people. He brought this upon himself. It's kind of hard to forgive people when they won't admit what they did. There was no sincerity and no apology for saying, you know what, baseball, I'm sorry, not only for breaking the cardinal rule, but for trying to make fools out of you and for lying to you and making you go through all kinds of hoops to nail me. If he had done that, he'd have been in the Hall of Fame long, long ago. he would have been back in baseball long ago. They would have rehabilitated him. Everything would have been fine. But how can you honor a person who keeps on lying to you, who won't apologize for making you go through an arduous process? The investigation, the interviews, the whole controversy dragged on so long while they were nailing him. He's responsible for all of that because in the end he's guilty. So he could have just saved everybody a lot of trouble. Even if you initially deny it. I mean, you got to come clean a year, 2, 3 years later or something. Somewhere along the line, you got to say, okay, guys, you know, I know you got the smoking gun. I know you know I did it. I know I did it. I'm sorry that I was dishonest, that I looked you in the eye and I said I didn't do it. If he had done things like that, he would have been in so much sooner. You cannot forgive somebody who won't come clean. How do you forgive somebody who, what are you forgiving him for? He never acknowledged the full extent of what he did afterward. I don't know why. I think he could have mended fences long ago. And he could have had the career after baseball that he should have had. He should have been in the game his entire life. He should have been an ambassador of baseball. He was a good example of a hardworking athlete who's getting the most out of his ability, and he's not taking the game for granted. He was that kind of guy. You know, the gambling thing, man, I can't even believe that he did such a thing. So stupid. So stupid. Are you kidding me, man? You had to bet on baseball? I mean, you had to. There was really, like, you know, you just couldn't enjoy life betting on other things and just leaving baseball alone. I mean, he would have got in trouble for associating with bookies and things like that. But had he not bet on baseball, it would all have blown over into nothing. This guy really had to bet on his own team. I mean, what was he thinking? What was he thinking? And then to deny this, like you know, it's like when a child is just caught red-handed with their hand in a cookie jar and they just won't fess up, and you're like, God, man, if you just admit it, it'll be all over. Stop punishing me. Stop making me have to deal with this and trying to get you to just acknowledge what you did and that it wasn't right and that you shouldn't have lied about it. And then I could trust you again. Then I could feel good about you again. Why do you gotta leave me with this bad feeling about you that you lied to my friggin' face? I mean, how does he not understand that they're going to hold a grudge? And then the individuals that were involved, you know, the commissioners and Bart Giamatti and Faye Vincent and all of that, but also against the organization itself. You know, he's lying to Major League Baseball itself. And that's comprised of a lot of people, not just the commissioner, obviously the team owners and things like that, executives, and a lot of people who, even though they might not even be present anymore, were followed up by people who respect their wishes, that he's not going to get in until he dies. That's when I think he's going to get in. That's what they're waiting for. They cannot give him the satisfaction of honoring him while he's lying to their face, while he treated them as if they were stupid. You know, they can't. That's accepting his lies. That's accepting that kind of treatment from him. That's why they won't let him in. If he would have just, you know, been contrite for that, and then he would have been in. And now they can't do it until he dies. And then after he dies, they're going to induct him. Because in the end, how could you keep this guy out? You cannot have the hit leader of Major League Baseball not in the Hall of Fame. It's too much of a thumb in the eye. You know, it draws too much attention to what Pete Rose did to keep himself out. And what a shame, because what what an illustrious career. And, you know, he had his detractors, as everybody does, you know, but he played hard all the time. You knew, as a fan, as a teammate, as an owner, that he would be prepared before the game started to play the game. He would take care of himself enough. He'd do what he'd have to do to work on his game, all of that stuff. He pursued the goal every year of trying to win a championship in earnest every year. I really don't believe that he phoned it in much ever. I'm sure he's human, and I'm sure, you know, he had to have his days. And that hustle some days might have been, you know, a little harder than others, or even less sincere than others. But still, he carried it out. You know, I don't know how many years, a dozen years of 200 hits in a row. His longevity. I don't know, to play 2 decades and have a batting average over 300, you know, I know his batting average doesn't compare to Ty Cobb's and all that, but that was a whole different time, you know.
So that sets it up for Pete Rose. So far, Seaver handled Rose on a pop-up and a fly ball.
He's had him swinging late, both times to the left side.
Pete Rose is now a 10-year player with the Reds. It means that he can't be traded without his consent. Born and reared in this town, he wants to wind it up here. His father taught him how to switch hit, and he has been Cincinnati Reds all the way since he was a little boy. He's hit over 300 his last 9 years. A strike to him. He attended Western Hills High School here in Cincinnati, where he was a teammate of Ed Brinkman, who now is the Detroit Tigers shortstop. 1 ball, no strikes. Foul back, 1-1.
Kurt, day in, day out, there's nobody in baseball that plays harder than Pete Rose, and I don't know of anybody more exciting. His antics on the base pass and his hard style of play.
Fouls it back. Let's take a look again in our center field camera, if we can, and see how far he stands back from the plate. But he strides toward the plate and toward the pitch. And he says he covers the outside of the plate very well. So they think I can. He also hits out of a severe crouch. Watch him now. Way back and crouches. A 1-2 pitch. 2-2. They can't jam him. He's so far back. He can handle those inside pitches. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Geronimo at second. He hits better left-handed than he does right-handed by a wide margin. Oh, he had ideas of reaching. Count goes to 3-2.
And Seaver thought he had the pitch. Thought it caught the outside part of the plate. He turned that one over, Kurt. It really ran away from Rose.
Three and 2 pitch. Strike 3. Rose is caught looking. 3 times in a row, Seaver has nailed Rose.
Ty Cobb wasn't playing against guys who had modern gloves, just to name a few. You know, on fields that were raked and manicured perfectly, and you know, I know they played on rotten fields too in the '70s with the artificial turf and all that, and but still was overall a much better improvement. If you look at old film of old baseball games, some of those fields, man, you could see how there'd be dozens of bad hops, and with guys who were barely wearing mittens, you could see how some guy can, you know, hit 380, 390, and you know, retire with a 363 batting average and stuff like that. You know, he was playing against much superior defense. He had an incredible run of consistency, and durability. You never had to worry about his head wasn't in the game. You never had to worry about he wasn't motivated. You never had to worry about that others around him wouldn't. It'd be hard to just phone it in if you're a teammate of his. You know, You could do it here or there, but you're gonna start getting looks. You're gonna start getting like, hey, I'm busting my ass over here. You know, you got to step up. You got to pick it up here. He's not gonna take losing. He's not gonna say, you know, I'm tired today, and you know it don't matter. So what the hell? He was a tremendous player, and it was a great disappointment when all of this broke, and I couldn't even believe it. I remember reading the headline. I think the first headline I saw, it might have been like in the National, the short-lived national newspaper. I believe that might have been the first report that I saw of it, and I was like, "What? You know, that's just got to be some sensationalized headline or something." When you look into the details, you know, it's gonna have nothing to do with it, because how stupid could Pete Rose be? How stupid would he be to bet on baseball? That's retarded. That's ridiculous. They banned Mickey Mantle. They banned Willie Mays for just staring at a door at a casino. This guy's gonna go bet on baseball. And then it was like, oh my God, he really did. And then it was like, man, he couldn't have been stupid to bet on the own games that he was involved in. I mean, he couldn't be that idiotic. And then it's like, oh my God, he bet on Red games. I was like, oh my God, man, please don't tell me that he bet against them. At least let it be that he didn't bet against them. You know, at least thankfully he saved himself there, because if he had bet against his own team, I don't think anybody right now would be saying, hey, they should forgive him and put him in. He saved himself, right? That little bit. And you think to yourself, geez, man, you know, you didn't bet against your own team. Did you have to bet on your own team? You couldn't have left that alone too? And then while you're at it, just leave baseball alone too, you know? Fly to Vegas, make some bets legally in a casino or some other sports or some crap, you rich bastard. Oh my goodness gracious. This guy's fucking cavorting with bookies, and oh my God. What was this guy doing? He's Madison Avenue. You know how much money he cost himself? I mean, the things that he could have been doing all these years, managing, general managing, putting together a syndicate to buy a team, endorsements, appearances all over the place, honors. Oh my God, man. Oh my God. There would have been a shrine built. They would have put a wing, maybe, on the Hall of Fame for this guy when all was said and done. Who knows where he would have went as a manager? Might have won a few World Series as a manager. Had a Hall of Fame career as a manager in itself. Who knows? This guy could have been, and for what? For what? To put a few $1,000s on a stupid ball game so you could get a thrill? A cheap fucking thrill? A cheap thrill? Pete Rose is disappointing, man. In all these years, he's still defending himself. Why doesn't he just say, listen, man, all right, I've been an asshole all these years. All right, you got me. No, he's too far in it. He's like, like these guys that are too far into, or these people that are too far into cults and all that, too far gone, and too much damage has been done for them to come out and admit the truth even to themselves. Oh boy, Petey. It could have been so much fun. I liked Pete Rose. You know, I could see how he could be a jerk off to some people, rub people the wrong way. You got to deal with him every day or something like that. But he was always basically a good guy, stand-up guy, regular guy. Didn't seem to really break people's balls. You know, when he did, he had some reasons. You know. He seemed to be decent, and he seemed to really appreciate the life that unfolded for him. You know, I think about that sometimes. I think, my God, man, some kid gets born, you know, to grow up to play for his hometown team called the Reds, and his name is Rose. Red Rose. I mean, Pete Rose grows up in Cincinnati to become the greatest player, Cincinnati, and perhaps one of the greatest players, the all-time hit leader of baseball, becomes this major icon for his hometown team called the Reds. And his name is Rose. It's almost like a storybook thing, like this child was born to be this icon for the Reds. Like, he seemed to appreciate all of that. He seemed to appreciate how, like, it just seemed storybook for so long.
Being hot in September, but so was Cincinnati. Here's Pete Rose now. Ball one to him. Rose is fouled out, flied out, and struck out. Joe Morgan on deck. The strike, 1-1. 53,431 is the official paid attendance today. A Major League playoff record. Beating the record of 69 at Shea Stadium. Ball two to Rose. So now Seaver was behind pinch hitter King, 3-1, and got him out. Now he's behind Pete Rose, 2 balls and a strike. 1 out, nobody on. Oh-ho. You can hear that one pop into the catcher's mitt of Jerry Grody up here. 2-2.
He's still got enough left for that occasional fastball when he reaches back extra. Garrett at third and Milner at first, really on the line to prevent against that double.
Foul away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Pete Rose. That's a good look for you up the left field foul line. There's a long blast. Going. It is gone. Pete Rose, who hit only 5 homers all year, drilled that one into deep right center, and the game is tied 1-1.
Fastball about belt high inside, and Pete got all of it. He has won this town back, Kurt. It was Johnny Bench's town for a couple of years after a couple of MVPs, and there is some rivalry between the two in this town, the rivalry to excel. And Pete has still got them standing on their feet here in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and Joe Morgan is making Seaver wait. He went over to the on-deck circle. Seaver had to go into the dugout and change his shoe. Might have disrupted him a bit.
And somewhere along the line, he thought he was bulletproof or something and lost that appreciation because he knew what he was putting at risk. He wasn't vague on it. He understood just what he was doing. You step out on your wife, you know what you're risking. You go break the rules. You go rob a bank. You say you love your freedom. Do you gotta go rob the bank? I mean, if you have to go rob the bank, if there truly is no alternative, okay, then you got some rationale. But Pete didn't have to bet on baseball. He didn't have to. I know gambling is this, that, and I'm sure that, he has probably still a serious addiction. And that clouds your judgments, and that, you got to get, some adrenaline pumping somehow. But you got to exercise some kind of self-control, a little bit, to just make sure you don't desecrate and destroy what you spent your lifetime building. Oh my God, the goodwill that he lost, the relationships, the opportunities, the presence, the acknowledgments, the laurels, his place of honor. Oh my goodness, man, what this guy gambled away is a sin. It's a shame. He was a good guy, baseball-wise. Turns out he was a pathological liar. I mean, And I don't think there's any other way you can explain his behavior all these many decades. How there's no other word for it other than pathological. Almost like you're standing in sunshine and somebody insists that it's raining. You know, it's just hard to deal with that. It's hard to feel good and to honor a guy who's really not being square with you 100%. And you can't feel good about it. The thing is, if he doesn't understand the position that he's put Major League Baseball in, that he put them in, if you do something against somebody else and you're sorry for it, if you're really sorry for it, then you're going to understand that you got to make them feel good about you again. And you're going to be like, oh, really? I didn't mean it. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't, please forgive me. You're not going to mind groveling or whatever. You're going to beg and plead because you really are sorry. And because you want them to feel good about you again. You want them to say, okay, all right, you made a mistake. We forgive you. You want that from them. But if you take the tack of like, no, I didn't do it, all right, fine, I did it, all right, okay, I'm sorry, all right, I did it, okay, I'm sorry, I said I'm sorry, what else do you want, okay, I'm sorry, I did it. Well, then if you're going to give somebody that kind of an apology, that's not going to work. That doesn't work. Somebody doesn't feel good about you again. They say, oh, wow, great, I trust you again. I want to be with you again. Let's do things again. Here's this big honor for you. We want to thank you for everything you've done for us. I mean, come on. He doesn't understand that. And that's what Rob Manfred means when he's saying he doesn't have a mature understanding about that. And this is why it leads one to feel that Pete Rose is a pathological liar. And I think his behavior, certainly his gambling behavior and his lifestyle or whatever, shows pathology. Not that I'm qualified to make any kind of judgments like that, but it just seems like he follows a groove. And that's just that. You can't get knocked out of that groove. Reality be damned. I think that's a sign of something. Well, that's why I don't think Pete Rose is ever getting in the Hall of Fame while he is alive. After he passes away, there'll be a grieving time, a mourning time, then the rehabilitation time, rehabilitating his image, and then the honor will be bestowed appropriately, posthumously. Unless he has like a total breakdown and just really, at this point, grovels, really tries to make amends in all ways. But I think it's all too far gone now. Too much time has passed. So much of what could have been is faded. To recapture some of it, I think so much has been lost that just can never be regained again. He's never going to have any kind of a managerial career. He's never going to be. He can never be part of the game again the way he was, the way he could have been, the way he would have been. And I think it all lands on Pete Rose, and that's about it. You can't blame people for saying, listen, man, you can't treat me like I'm stupid and then expect me to honor you. Okay, you can't talk to me like I'm an asshole and then want me to do something nice for you. It just doesn't work that way. I don't know how he doesn't know that or how other people don't see it that way. Again, you just can't, you're not putting Major League Baseball in a position that allows them to honor you with some face, with some dignity. It's a shame. He should have come to understand that long ago. Well, I guess that about wraps it up for this one. I don't know what else more can be said about this subject. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments. And stay well and stay safe until next time.